Nahatadzil is more than a land where the plants, where the pasture, and the trees, where the grass for animals, where all the important plants of the Navajo world are plentiful. It is more than ridges, plateaus, more than valleys, water, sky. It is more than a world of natural resources. It is personal resources. It's a place where herdsmen can use developed facilities for grazing their animals. And it is more. It is a rural community, a place to live that is well planned, modern, growing. It is a way that is full of tradition, while giving the people the community support and services that they need. It is a way of life where the young will have their opportunity, and where the wisdom and the decisions of the old will be heard. It is a land of choice, the new lands of the Navajo people. The new lands are located along the southern border of the Navajo Nation. They are on Interstate 40 along historic Route 66 between the Petrified Forest National Park and the New Mexico border. The new lands are as much as 40 miles long and 24 miles wide, and they cover 352,000 acres. There are 3 towns on the new lands, all located along Interstate 40: Navajo, Chambers, and Sanders, the largest community. You can get to the new lands on good highways. Interstate 40 runs east and west with the railroad tracks beside it. State Highway 191, previously 666, goes north and south from Sanders down to St. John's. State Highway 61 crosses the southern part of the new lands, going to Zuni, New Mexico, and Highway 191 goes from Chambers to Ganado. Housing on the new lands is located so that everyone has good access to these highways. Before the times of the ranchers, the Navajo lived on this land as grazers and farmers. Until recently, the new lands were 7 operating ranches that were selected by the Navajo Nation and are now Indian Trust lands. So now the Navajo people once again live on these lands, which are beside the Big Navajo Reservation and touch 4 chapters: Lower Greasewood, Houck, Wide Ruins, and Lupton. Before the land can be developed, an archaeological process that assesses the cultural resources can take as long as 2 years. This is one of the many important and time-consuming projects of the Office of Navajo and Hopi Indian Relocation. If cultural resources are discovered, the Relocation Office attempts to design the development in such a way as to not disturb these resources. If that cannot be done, it becomes necessary to excavate or remove the cultural resources. The non-grave-related artifacts from these sites are taken to the Museum of Northern Arizona for study and archiving. The new lands have proven to be one of the richest areas in northern Arizona for archaeological sites. Much new information has been learned about some of the earliest human inhabitants, as early as 10,000 years ago. Once the archaeological process has been completed, the construction of homes, water lines, roads, fences, and other types of development can begin. The style of homes range from the traditional hogan to more contemporary styles of housing. The houses that are constructed for families moving to the new lands are built to extremely high standards. Our specs exceed the construction industry standards in many ways. The new lands have been divided into 17 range units for families with grazing permits and their extended families, and a rural community for families not sponsored by grazing permittees. The people on the new lands have received recognition by the Navajo Nation as the Nahatadzil chapter, the 110th chapter of the Navajo Nation. Officials elected by the Navajos from the local area are now holding office. The Relocation Office has made sure there has been the right kind of growth and development opportunities for the people. A new relocation office near the chapter building coordinates the new land activities. This office also provides administrative support, such as on-site services, referral services, and community development. Currently, Puerco Valley Public Schools provides education for the residents of the new lands from grades kindergarten through high school. A new high school has been dedicated on the rural community and is designed to accommodate 600 students. The school system is accredited and can prepare students for college. The Northland Pioneer College in Holbrook is one opportunity for furthering education. A Head Start building has been constructed by the Navajo Nation at East Mill. The Relocation Office has designed a Head Start building to be constructed in 1994 at a site in the rural community. For working parents, daycare is available through in-home trained caregivers. Medical care is available in hospitals and clinics nearby in Gallup and Zuni. A new behavioral health service building and outpatient clinic have been constructed on the Community Services site in the rural community. Much coordination for the Nahat-Zil chapter is done at the Community Services building. Monthly chapter meetings are held in this building, and committees are appointed to help form policy for residents and help make decisions about land use. One committee is the Rural Community Committee, which is making land decisions for the rural community area. Another active committee is the Rodeo Committee, which is developing a rodeo fairgrounds at this site on the rural community. Another community project is a unique pilot solid waste disposal program that is new to the reservation. This has been one of the major health and environmental challenges of the Navajo people, and it is being successfully handled on the new lands. Fire protection for the new lands is provided by a newly upgraded fire station at Sanders. A traditional old-style trading post in Sanders has been helping Navajos by offering supplies and purchasing things the people make. A variety of employment and training opportunities are available to residents of the new lands. The Building Trades program, accredited by Northland Pioneer College, helps the people learn valuable skills. Located near the Community Services building is the new industrial facility. This plant will be a major employer of people that live in the new lands area. Other local employment includes construction and jobs with local businesses, services, and government agencies. Away from the community, the land is what the people are used to. The new lands range units offer a wide variety of land elevation, vegetation, and rainfall. The lowest and driest of the range units are located at the west end of the new lands. There, the vegetation is made up of short grassland, and the average annual rainfall is 9 inches. Part of this low country contains sections of the colorful, painted desert. Moving east toward the center of the new lands, the land becomes higher with rolling grasslands and scattered woodlands. The average annual rainfall in this area is 11 inches. This increase in rainfall produces taller grasses. In the new lands between the open grasslands and the highest elevations are sloping benchlands. These lands have higher density tree cover and woodland vegetation. The highest country is located in the southern and eastern areas of the new lands. The average annual rainfall in these areas is 13 inches. The land has a mixture of dense woodland and grassland vegetation cover. The rain runs to the Puerco River, which flows off to the southwest through the northern part of the new lands. The range has the wild plants and animals that are so important to the Navajo way of life. The plants include the pinyon and juniper trees, even the tall ponderosa pines. Many of the bushes and plants are important and useful in Navajo tradition. Ram Herder, a medicine man, and his daughter Helen have learned about the plants that live on the new lands.
Father, it's been 4 years since you moved out here with your relatives, and they know you as a traditional medicine man. As a medicine man, you need different types of herbs for healing and ceremonial purposes. Do you find similar types of herbs here on the new lands that you used on Hopi partitioned lands?
Most of the plants that can be used as herbs are found here. Here are some right in front of us. This green plant here is an herb. This plant too, and other types of plants are out here in the range area. This yucca plant can make a form of soap that can be used for cleansing and purification in various ceremonies. The yucca plant is used in many types of ceremonies. We can dig it out now and take a closer look at it.
Let's dig out this yucca so I can take a closer look at it. I want to see what the root looks like.
To use this yucca root in a ceremony, first it needs to be skinned off. The white part has to be crushed and placed in water. In order to make lots of soap, one needs to rub it in their palms. Yucca plant has been used by our ancestors, used as soap, even for washing clothes, and today it is still used for ceremonial purposes. This green plant has many uses. It can be picked and crushed. Add warm water, and a person can drink it for medicine and herb purposes. These plants, too, can be used for many other purposes.
So you think the soil and the land here is good for all kinds of range grasses, even for herbs and plants that are used for ceremonial purposes?
Yes, this soil is good for all plants and farming too. A variety of melons and corn turned out good.
Let me see that yucca root again. Which way was this growing? Which way is the top?
The top is cut straight across, and the bottom is cut diagonally, which is towards the roots.
When you are using this yucca root during a ceremony, do you place the top towards the east inside the Navajo basket?
Yes.
The herds graze on the grasses and the forage that grow thick and healthy on the new lands. The plants grow so well here because there is a communal livestock herd on each range unit with a good system of moving the animals around, so no one area is used so much that the plants can't grow back. Without plants, the wind and rain cause erosion and destroy the land, so it cannot be used. A rotation system means more money for herdsmen because more animals can live on the land. Using fences, the ranchers can decide where the herds should be, and the animals will stay there until they are moved again. Grazing permits for the new lands are available for those who have had permits before. The basic permit is for 80 sheep, but as the herdsmen on a range unit agree on a plan to graze the sheep communally and rotate them using good range management, there can be given a 50% temporary permit extension for a total of 120 sheep. This compares to an average permit size of 20 sheep on former grazing lands. The New Lands Range Program is answering questions and helping to set up grazing associations so the people can arrive at their own decisions on communal grazing and rotation of stock. The Navajos who have grazing permits will live in new houses that are built in clusters at the corners of the range units. Because the houses can be fenced away from the grazing animals, the people can have vegetable gardens and grow trees and other plants. Many of the people are involved in a pilot project to make their gardens even more productive while using less water. These tubes carry water to the plants using a system called drip irrigation. Another project provides for the planting of trees native to the climate. These trees are planted in rows to provide windbreak shelter for homes. The arrangement of a group of houses and the grazing land around them is called a range unit. There are 17 range units on the new lands. Jackson Yazzie has been living in a range unit on the new lands and is a successful herdsman. Hello. I will tell you briefly about the new lands, as well as the livestock that graze on these lands. I will also tell you about the fences, the water, and the windmills. But first, I will introduce myself. My name is Jackson Yazzie, and I relocated to a place called Rim Range. Our cattle, horses, and sheep graze in fenced pastures where the fences are often checked and maintained. The gates are also taken care of because they are required to be kept closed. Our livestock graze inside these fences. In some places, there are 5 strands of barbed wire, and in other places, there are only 4 strands. Here, there are 5 strands. This is for a bull pasture. The bulls graze here during the non-breeding season. There are various pastures in this range unit, and this is the way they are fenced. The cattle are moved from pastures every 4 months. When the weather gets warm and the vegetation starts to grow, the cattle are moved accordingly. It is very good to have fences and move the cattle within them. This is what we have learned here. The forage is good. It is very good for the livestock. When the livestock is moved to another pasture with good forage, the other pasture rests. The livestock do not graze in one place. This prevents overgrazing. Regarding the water, there are windmills and storage tanks. The windmills can be tied down. Behind me is a windmill. There is a water trough nearby, and behind the storage tank is a flotation device located underground halfway between them. When the water trough gets full, the float closes the valve automatically. It turns on and off by itself. We do not have to be here to turn the water on. This is how the windmills are set up. Water lines carry the water to the troughs at various places so that the sheep may drink the water. This is very good because it does not require our constant attention. This water system is very good. The sheep graze near the housing area, which is fenced. The sheep corrals are located near the housing area, and the sheep are penned and let out to graze from there. Also, the sheep have a separate pasture surrounding the housing area. It is very good to have rotation grazing. The animals do not overgraze the area. It is good this way. I have talked about the various fences with barbed wire and moving the animals from pasture to pasture. I have also talked about the water system with the automatic flotation device, which opens and closes the flow of water into the trough. This system is very good. It is very good that we moved here to the new lands. Thank you. This is the relocation office in Flagstaff. They are helping people move to the new lands. They know how to keep the rangelands productive and negotiate good management plans with people who will be grazing in common with other permittees on the lands. Their maps show where people with grazing permits live in groups with their extended families and others they may choose. This is the range unit at Antelope Well. This range unit has a central corral which makes it easier to move livestock between pastures. The Operations Division of the Range Office installs and checks the fences. This keeps animals in the right pastures and helps keep people from trespassing. At the East Mill Well, there are 10 pastures and electric fences that are powered by sunshine using a solar charger and a battery. The Office of Relocation Range Office in Chambers provides materials and construction labor for the many development projects being built. The Management Division is helping to establish meetings at the range units to let people say what choices they want to make about their land. All the people Young and old will be heard at these meetings, and decisions that affect the people will be made by the people. Ram Herder, the medicine man, has his own flocks in a new lands range unit, and he knows how well the grazing system works. 4 years ago, when I moved out here, the government hauled over 24 heads of sheep and 6 heads of goats to the new lands. I bought a big ram from Roswell, New Mexico. From that breeding, those big lambs were born, and now I have more fat sheep and goats. A friend named Jim Baldwin also helped me get that black-faced ram. The next generation of sheep will be from that breeding. There is plenty of forage and plants for all purposes here. For example, plants like the four-winged saltbush, winterfat, juniper, tumbleweed, ricegrass, other varieties of plants, and also gray horsebrush. We also have more cattle and horses now. They are currently in the north pasture, by that mountain. Within 2 weeks, we will be rotating them to another pasture, where they will be grazing for the next 6 months. This will give the other pasture time to rest, and new forage can grow before the next rotation. The soil and land is good for all types of plants, even for crops like corn and varieties of melons. I feel thankful for the good soil and good land here.
I'm Carl Kanasik, the Commissioner for the Relocation Office, and our office is responsible for developing these new lands. We're proud of what's taking place out here. The community is developing in a very orderly fashion, and we're developing the essential facilities needed first. Behind me you see a new high school which was developed by the local high school district. You've also visited the health clinic, you have visited the behavioral health clinic, and a Head Start facility. These are all amenities necessary for a healthy community. In addition, our ranch lands are gaining international recognition. Recently visited by an agricultural and ranching contingent from Egypt. We also had the livestock minister from Lesotho, and most recently our clinic was visited by a health official from Uganda studying rural healthcare delivery systems in the United States. We're proud of the people out here. We're proud of the way the people have moved out here and are taking up the new life, are taking on the responsibility of forming their new community, and are taking active roles in seeing that their community is as they want it, not as we want it. We're proud of the whole development.
We can see that the land is good for the herdsman and his livestock, and for the people living in the rural community. And we can see by using strength through planning why this chapter has been named NARA This.